The snow came early that year, 1888, blanketing the Wyoming hills in a hush so complete you could hear the creek freeze. Red Creek looked like a town tucked inside a sugar bowl, roofs white, breath hanging in the air like ghosts. Most folks stayed indoors. But Celia Holt, she still caught her breath every time she heard the name, was out before dawn, bundled in Ronan's old coat, breaking ice on the water trough so the horses could drink. Inside the house, the fire already snapped, coffee bubbled, and the smell of cinnamon oats drifted down the hallway. She moved quiet, the way a woman does when she's afraid the dream might end if she makes too much noise. Ronan found her there at the stove, snow melting off her boots onto the rag rug she'd braided from feed sacks last spring. "You'll catch your death," he murmured, voice still gravel rough from sleep. He came up behind her, arms sliding around her waist the way he'd learned she liked. No asking, just the steady weight of him letting her know the world hadn't shifted overnight. "I already died once," she said softly, leaning back against his chest. Turned out heaven looked a lot like this kitchen. He pressed a kiss to the curve of her neck, right where her braid started, and for a long minute they stood like that, two people who'd once believed themselves finished with miracles. The children thundered down the stairs before sentiment could get the better of them. "Ma, Noah says the pond's thick enough to skate," Ben shouted, nearly tripping over Lily, who was trying to pull tiny wool stockings onto a very patient barn cat. "Ma, tell Ben if he falls through I ain't fishing him out again." Noah called from the doorway, cheeks already red from cold, rifle slung over his shoulder like it belonged there. 13 going on 30, that one. Emma appeared last, arms full of books and a conspiratorial smile. "Ma, I saved you the last bit of brown paper. Thought maybe we could make snowflakes for the window like you showed us." Celia's eyes stung. "Ma." Still, after all these months, the word landed soft as feathers and heavy as gold. Breakfast was loud, spoons clanging. Lily stealing brown sugar off Ben's plate. Ronan pretending not to notice when Celia slipped an extra strip of bacon onto Noah's because the boy was shooting up like a weed and still too proud to ask for seconds. Afterward, the men, Ronan and Noah, both insisted on being called men now, headed out to check the herd. The women, Emma's word delivered with great seriousness, stayed behind to bake. Celia tied aprons around 3 small waists and 1 larger one and set them to work. Flour dusted the air like snow indoors. Lily stood on a stool stirring apple butter, tongue poking out in concentration. Emma read the recipe aloud, tracing the words with a sticky finger. Ben darted in and out, stealing pinches of dough and earning playful swats. At one point, Emma looked up, solemn. "Ma? Before you came, Noah used to cry at, 'Morning, Mrs. Holt. Cold enough for you, ma'am? Save me a ginger cookie, Celia, or I'll never hear the end of it from the missus.'" She smiled until her cheeks hurt. Mrs. Rowan passed on the boardwalk, chin high, but even she gave a curt nod now. Some defeats are quieter than others. Inside the stall, the stove glowed cherry red. Celia hung her shawl, rolled her sleeves, and began setting out the day's wares. Word had spread beyond. Red Creek, ranch wives rode 20 miles for her peach preserves, and the stagecoach driver always bought enough hand pies to last the run to Cheyenne. Ronan lingered longer than necessary, pretending to inspect a sack of coffee beans. Finally, he cleared his throat. "Got something for you," he muttered, pulling a small bundle from his coat. He placed it in her flour-dusted hands like it might break. She unwrapped the brown paper. Inside was a sign, hand-carved and painted in careful red letters. Celia's kitchen. Pies, bread, and a warm welcome. Si, 1888. Her breath caught. "Ronan!" "Sawmill owed me a favor." Noah did the lettering. Boy's got a steady hand when he sets his mind to it. He rubbed the back of his neck. Suddenly shy, figured it was time your name was up there proper. Not just mine on the ranch brand. She stared at the sign until her eyes swam, then threw her arms around, his neck right there in front, of God and half of Red Creek. He held her tight, gloves rough against her back, and for once didn't care who saw. Later, when the pies were sold out and the children's cheeks were red from skating on the pond behind the church, they all piled into the big sleigh for the ride home. The sun sank low, painting the snow rose in gold. Bells on the horse's harness jingled. Lily fell asleep against Celia's side, thumb in mouth like the baby she almost wasn't anymore. Ronan drove one-handed. The other arm was around Celia's shoulders. After a while he spoke, voice low so only she could hear. "Used to think love was something loud," he said. Gunfights and grand gestures. Turns out it's quieter. It's pies cooling on a windowsill and somebody washing your shirts without being asked. It's coming in from the cold and knowing there's a light left on. Celia rested her head against his shoulder. Snowflakes caught in her eyelashes. I still ain't worth much on paper, she whispered. He pulled the horses to a stop at the top of the ridge that looked out over their valley. Their fences, their cattle, their home glowing like a single star against the dark. Paper's a liar, he said simply. I got everything I need right here, and under a sky full of winter stars. With 4 sleeping children and a lifetime of quiet miracles ahead, Celia Holt finally believed him. She was home, inside the farmhouse. The scent of cinnamon and warm bread drifted from the kitchen every morning. The old hearth crackled each night, not from need but from comfort. There were curtains now, stitched by Celia's own hands, and drawings taped to the walls. Lily's stick figures, Emma's animals, Ben's imagined horses. Noah even carved a nameplate above the front door. The Holt home. At first, townsfolk came out of politeness. Then they came for her ginger peach tart. And soon after they came for her, they lingered to ask about recipes, about her girls, about her plans. The whispers that once followed her through the street had long since faded. Now they said things like, that Celia Hull makes the best honey cornbread this side of the Rockies, or simply, she's one of us. No one mentioned the auction any. No one needed to. At home, the children called her Ma, not Miss Celia, not the lady, just Ma. Lily said it first without thinking. Without asking, when she tripped over a bucket and Celia came running. The little girl threw her arms around Celia's waist and said through tears, Ma, I'm okay. The others picked it up like breath. Celia had not asked for it, but her heart swelled each time they said it. Ronan never corrected them. One quiet evening after the bakery closed and the stars blinked above Red Creek, Ronan sat alone on the back porch. The crickets hummed. The porch light glowed warm behind him. In his lap was a leather-bound journal worn at the edges, spine cracked from years of silent conversations. It had belonged to his late wife. For the first time in over 3 years, he opened it. He flipped past the dried petals she'd once pressed between pages, past the recipes written in her neat hand, until he found a blank space. Then he picked up his pen and he wrote, I did not forget you. I never will. But something has changed here. Something good. The children laugh again. The house breathes again. There is light where there was only waiting. Her name is Celia. She came with no family. No name of worth, no promises. Only a line on a page. I'm not worth much, sir, but I can cook. She brought more than food. She brought warmth, kindness, courage, a kind of love I thought I would never see again. She is not your replacement. She is our new beginning. He closed the journal. Inside the house, he could hear Celia humming while folding laundry. The children giggled over something Lily had said, and Ronan Holt smiled into the dark. The stars above him like silent witnesses. This was not the life he planned. It was the life that had waited for him quietly, patiently. Love, after all, did not ask for permission. It only asked to be chosen. Out on the edge of the American frontier, love didn't always come easy. But sometimes it came quietly and stayed for good. If Celia and Ronan's story touched your heart, the courage, the healing, the quiet choice to love, then hit that hype button to show some love back. And if you're drawn to stories where hearts are braver than bullets, where family is chosen, and where love blooms in the dust, subscribe to Wild West Love Story. We've got more tales to tell of honor, heartbreak, and devotion that defied the wild. Thanks for riding with us. See you on the next trail.